If you already hold these coins, I would actually sell them and buy Bitcoin. I feel pretty confident that you're going to be surprised on the upside here. You're going to be surprised that nobody's going to want to stand and filibuster this thing.
Bitcoin is poised to dominate the market, leaving altcoins trailing far behind. This bold statement comes from expert mathematician and Bitcoin advocate Fred Krueger in a recent interview. Krueger didn't mince words, criticizing altcoins as largely speculative at best and outright scams at worst. He believes they detract from Bitcoin's core mission, becoming a decentralized global store of value. Krueger also predicted an explosive Bitcoin rally, one that could eclipse all previous surges, with the cryptocurrency reaching unprecedented all-time highs. He likened the current market to a dam on the verge of breaking, with institutional investments and retail interest ready to flood the space. Stay tuned until the end of this video as Fred Krueger shares even more bullish insights on Bitcoin's incredible growth potential.
Hi guys, hope to see you guys at Dubai Token 2049. We have exclusive 10% off the limited super early bird tickets. Click the link below. This pass will grant you access to speaking sessions, networking app, exhibition hall, daily networking drinks, and also included breakfast, lunch, and coffee breaks, all included the package. I love to see everyone there. Peace out.
I'm not saying they're all terrible. What I'm saying is the biggest opportunity right now and the biggest opportunity in your portfolio is Bitcoin. It's how much Bitcoin do you own? Now, I think the problem with all these other coins is you can get very distracted very quickly, right? You can say, well, what about Solana? Well, then what about, Avalanche, and what about Near, and what about Sui and Aptos, and and you can spend the next month just getting lost in trying to understand all these different protocols, and if they're cheap or if they're rich, or you can spend all this time on that, right? But I think that it's a distraction. What you really need to do is figure out the main question, which is what percent of the portfolio of your portfolio is in Bitcoin. That's the number one thing right now. I really, if you already hold these coins, I would actually sell them and buy Bitcoin. Personally, I would just simplify your life. I think we as humans, we like to overcomplicate things, right? Yeah. We love to trade in, we trade out, we find some new story, we like this, we like that. There will be time to reassess where we are. But right now you can get really cute and you can spend a lot of your time on other stories. And yes, some of them will outperform, but a lot of them will not. And most of them will not. And I think I find it very cleansing to just have Bitcoin. If you're asking me for my doctor's advice, I would say, just make sure that 90% of your portfolio is pure Bitcoin. And then just look at the other 10% as you're going to Vegas and you're going to hit various tables. You're going to go to the blackjack table, you're going to go to the craps table, you're going to place a yo bet, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Think of it as entertainment and not investment advice. And if you want to go play it and just have some funds, and maybe you want to even buy some meme coins or something, I don't know. Anything that will help you not sell that Bitcoin, it doesn't matter. And honestly, if you lose it all, it doesn't matter. The 90% that you have in Bitcoin is going to bail you out. And maybe you're going to get lucky. Maybe you're going to hit the next big thing, the thing that's going to outperform Bitcoin. It's possible. Something will outperform Bitcoin. I don't know. I just don't know which one it is. And I would look at it as just pure entertainment. And you know what? Just sitting there and just watching the price of Bitcoin can get really kind of mind numbing. So maybe it's a little bit of a spiritual class. It's like playing Sudoku.
I mean, look, and there's a lot of people, by the way, what you're saying is, to someone who's not in crypto, describing Bitcoin as playing Sudoku is probably blowing their minds, because that is true. But for everybody else, I mean, this chart that we're looking at, we were talking about it this morning. Peanut the squirrel, we flagged this on Coinage when it was a $42 million market cap, now up at 1.6 billion. We got a 40 bagger, Fred, that everyone who reads our newsletter saw mentioned in that one. I made the mistake, as you just mentioned. Sometimes we overthink things. Sometimes we overtrade. I got out. I missed the 40 bagger.
As long as you keep the position size down and you look at it as this is the fun category. I mean, it is fun. Look, when I go to Vegas, I gamble. Okay, I know I'm not supposed to, but I like to hit the tables. I like to play blackjack. I think we all do, right? And, sometimes I'll do a little sports betting. I don't care. I enjoy it. I like gambling, but I think we need to make the big bet, the big sizable bet. Mm-hmm. Let's not put your children's retirement on Peanut the squirrel. Okay. that would not be a good idea. If you want to put your lunch money on Peanut the squirrel, fine, go ahead. And maybe you're going to have the thing. I don't know. I'm just not really focused on these things. So, I mean, I was aware of that one because it just kind of hit the meme verse, the Twitter verse. And I love the story of Peanut, right? So I think
for sure,
I was very heartbroken when Peanut was executed by the Democrats.
But for Lummis to say we want to buy 1 million Bitcoin and get that across the finish line, what has you so confident?
I mean, we are in all your past experience is not going to prepare you for what's about to happen. Okay. It wouldn't have happened under the previous administration. Absolutely not. And
for sure.
Had we not got this, but I feel pretty confident that you're going to be surprised on the upside here. You're going to be surprised that nobody's going to want to stand and filibuster this thing, and take the other side of this, because, this is what cost the Democrats the election. Honestly, what cost the election was Elizabeth Warren with her anti-crypto army. That cost the Democrats the election. And honestly, they're going to do some soul searching, and I don't think they're going to fight this one again. They're going to pick different fights. That one was a very, very bad fight to make, and I think that's over. I think we're going to get to a much more crypto-friendly SEC. I think we're going to get to a crypto-friendly administration, and I do think it's going to be bipartisan at this point.
I mean, it's been exciting to see that
they're going to fight. They're going to fight the border. They're going to fight things like that. But I just don't see them fighting a Bitcoin reserve fund. And Gensler's out now, so we're about to have a changing of the guard, and it's blue skies ahead, my friend.
As Trump sets his sights on the White House for 2025, crypto experts like Redstone co-founder Marcin Kashmir predict a mainstream breakthrough for decentralized finance and Bitcoin staking. Kashmir envisions that a Trump administration could implement crypto-friendly policies, easing regulatory barriers and fostering innovation. If this vision becomes reality, DeFi could transition from a niche sector to a widespread financial movement, driving a surge in adoption. Such a shift would likely attract waves of investment and technological advancements, creating a thriving ecosystem for digital finance. Now, let's return to Fred Krueger's insights on Bitcoin's future.
I mean, the election changes everything, right? So it could have gone the other way. I think had we had a different outcome in the election, we might be looking at $50,000, not $100,000. So I think, we have the best of all possible worlds for Bitcoin right here. And this is like we just added kerosene to the fire, and the fire is going in one direction right now, which is up. Let me put it this way. There's about $47 trillion worth of stocks out there, an equivalent amount of bonds, and 5 or 6 trillion of cash out there. And just in the US alone, there's $100 trillion of financial assets. Bitcoin right now is a $1.5 trillion asset class. But of that $1.5 trillion, TradFi only owns about $100 billion worth, which is kind of the value of all the ETFs, which is about 1 million coins, and MicroStrategy, right? So in a world where they have $100 billion of it, but their total pie is $100 trillion, their actual asset allocation is 0.1%. And actually, it's less than that because Bitcoin's a global asset, and the U.S. doesn't have more than 1/3 of the total global pie. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at, something like 0.3% of allocation to this asset class. And I mean, we're going to north of 1% very quickly.
Yeah.
We're looking at $1 trillion coming into this asset over the next, let's call it 4 years. But it's, if this money's coming in, you don't really want to be the last guy in the pool. I think they always have this adage: you don't want to be the first guy in the pool, but you don't want to be the last. You certainly don't want to be the last guy in the pool. I just think, look, the real, yes, there's some leverage with MicroStrategy buying a little bit of, all the amount of money that's come into this market is inconsequential relative to the amount of money that's about to come into this market. It just doesn't matter. So, again, there's these big buckets of money in the world, right? So there's self-directed people going to their stock, their portfolio, their account at Merrill Lynch and just clicking a few buttons and picking up some exposure to MSTR or one of the new ETFs. That's 1/3. You have institutions like pension funds, retirement accounts, and things like that. That's another 1/3. And then you have managed accounts where wealth managers are allocating on behalf of their clients. That's 1/3. And none of these things they're just like dipping the very top bit of their toe in the water. That's 0.1%. They are not involved yet. So, it's sort of like the dam there's a little bit of water, there's a little fissure in the dam, and we're seeing some water drip through the dam. And we're going, oh my God, is this, how much is the entire dam is about to break. So, you're in, the looking at the chart of Bitcoin in the past, I don't think informs you very well as to where it's about to go. We are about to have a breaking dam moment where TradFi has finally awoken to this asset. And number one, understands the asset, understands the opportunity, and number two, can now, for the last 9 months, invest in this asset. That the ETF is live. They can push a button, they can get exposure. So I think, we have the catalyst for this move, which is the ETF. That's the necessary and sufficient condition. Before that, traditional finance, traditional investors couldn't buy Bitcoin easily. Sure, they could open an account at Coinbase, but that's a very small percentage of people who are going to do that. Most people, they have their assets in a brokerage account or in a bank, and for them to wire money to this thing called Coinbase and buy Bitcoin it's a stretch, and it's even more of a stretch to tell them you got to you got to put a private, get a seed phrase, copy it down, store it in a safe, get a ledger, and hold your own Bitcoin yourself. That's not going to happen for most.
No, it's a very
good
point.
They're not going to do that. Well, it's 100% realistic. It's 100% going to happen. It is a promise that Trump made to us in Nashville when I was in with all my fellow Bitcoiners in the actual physical same room with Donald Trump when he made that promise. I was in the same room with RFK Jr. when he made that promise. We were in the same room with Senator Loomis when they made that promise. This is happening, okay? And you may be in disbelief that it's happening, but it is going to happen by, I would say, March of next year. So this is going to happen, and it's not just going to happen suddenly with like Congress fighting it. No, there's going to be talk of this thing right when Congress gets back to work on the 5th of January. So we're moving very, very quickly in a direction where we have a strategic Bitcoin reserve. where the largest entity in the world, which is the US government, is buying Bitcoin. And so if you're not buying Bitcoin and your government is buying Bitcoin, and you're sort of still on the Peter Schiff train that this is not real money, you got to go see a doctor, because obviously it's real if the U.S. government's buying it. So it doesn't matter how much the U.S. government buys.
Yeah.
The fact that we have a strategic reserve is all you need to know. That is all you need to know. And that means that if you're a company, your company needs to buy Bitcoin. If you're a country, your country needs to buy Bitcoin. If you're an individual, you need to start front running that as fast as you can, right? You just got the go ahead. So you need to start, your allocation, whatever it is way too low, So that's the mental shift.
Fred Krueger's message is loud and clear. Stick with Bitcoin. He calls it the ultimate winner in the crypto space, the one built to endure. While altcoins may seem enticing, Fred cautions that they are, at best, distractions and, at worst, traps that could leave investors empty-handed. As Bitcoin edges closer to breaking all-time highs, the cracks in the financial dam are becoming more evident. When that dam finally gives way, the resulting flood will reshape everything. Fred firmly believes that Bitcoin is the only cryptocurrency robust enough to weather the storm and emerge victorious. For more Daily Dose Crypto News, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.